A very pleasant Tuesday to you. Michael Patrick Shiels in the AT&T studio all across the state of Michigan and on Fox 47 television. You're getting ready for your Thanksgiving dinner. And do you know that the American Farm Bureau Federation says the price of a traditional Thanksgiving feast is up? And before I give you the amount, let's bring in Eric Villegas, really Michigan's one of the most famous chefs, award-winning cookbook author, television personality, and of course he's had a couple of restaurants too, like Villegas here in the Lansing area. He lived in Paris, France for a while at a television show. What hasn't he done? Well, he's with us back, and it's nice to hear your voice again, Eric. Welcome back to the program.
Michael, thank you so much. How is everybody doing?
Oh, we're missing you, and you're here just in a nick of time as we're starting to get ready for Thanksgiving dinner. And so let's play Price is Right, if you will, okay?
Certainly.
Let's talk about turkey, stuffing, sweet potatoes, cranberries, pumpkin pie. How much do you think the average, according to the American Farm Bureau Federation, to get all of that together would be, the cost?
The entire meal, not per person?
Just the entire meal, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say, $87.
Ooh, only $49.48.
Oh, wow.
More
I guess I'm
affordable.
shopping at the wrong store.
You know what? The fact of the matter is that the Thanksgiving dinner, and Michael Simon was on yesterday, too, one of your fellow celebrity chefs, and I said Thanksgiving dinner really isn't that sophisticated. I mean, people want what they want, and they expect mashed potatoes, they expect stuffing. It's not necessarily a gourmet affair, or is it?
Well, it can be. I think so many people have so much vested interest in the holiday from their backgrounds and what they remember growing up. And I know a lot of my friends refuse to eat anything that they haven't eaten year after year after year. Mm-hmm. In my house, we like to do the classic dishes, and then I like to always throw in one dish that's just going to shake everybody up a little bit.
What'll that be this year?
Well, one of the things that I've been doing for a while, but I'm going to be going to Chicago to be with my sister and family, is I love doing stuffing outside the bird. But as you know, here in Michigan, we just have an amazing opportunity. We've got the shrimp farm, the country's first indoor saltwater shrimp farm right here in Oakland. And I make a shrimp stuffing kind of patterned after the classic oyster stuffing, but using Michigan shrimp. It's more like a shrimp bread pudding, and it is delicious.
You love to use Michigan products, don't you?
Yes, I do. I can't think of not using anything else, especially when I'm here at the Culinary Compound, my home.
The Culinary Compound is home. Now, I've heard people say that you should really not bother making stuffing in the bird because it's kind of dangerous and it can be bad for your health. True?
Well, yeah, it can be because, what you're doing is when you're, and a lot of people aren't paying attention to this, but when they're making the stuffing, it's hot. And if they don't let it cool properly, then they put a hot stuffing into a cold bird, and then they put that bird in the oven, and the inside is kind of warm, and you run into a temperature issue where bacteria can grow at a certain length of time while the bird is in. So if you're going to stuff your turkey, make absolutely sure that your stuffing is well chilled before it goes into the bird. But when you're cooking the stuffed bird, it takes so much longer to cook, and it increases the opportunity for your meat to dry out, especially the breast.
What is the secret to having a moist turkey?
Well, don't overcook it, Michael.
Yeah, that's so.
Yeah, you're right. Well, there's a couple things, and first and foremost, it's truly watching your temperature, realizing that whatever protein you cook, when it comes out of the oven, it's going to continue to rise by 5 or 10 degrees. So you want to kind of undercook to kind of hit that spot. But what I've always done is we brine our birds. And that's basically a saltwater solution where at a micro level, the salt literally disrupts the cell membranes of the turkey and it opens it up. And when it opens up those cell membranes, that salt water rushes in and plumps up the bird. And if that brine, that salt water, has been flavored, all those other flavors go into the party. So you're getting a bird that's been amped up with a little bit of salted water and whatever flavors you choose to go in there, and it's just a moisture bird.
So you put the whole turkey before you bake it into a giant tub or pot or whatever you can of salt water.
Absolutely, and a really good way to do that, especially during this time of the year when people don't have a lot of room in their refrigerators, is a cooler works beautifully. So if you make your brine and use ice as part of the water ratio and have this ice brine and put your turkey in it and put the lid down on your cooler, you're good for 24 hours.
So how much? So you put it in there for 24 hours with ice and water, and how much salt?
Well, that's the rub. That's the recipe. That's what you've got to find. It's generally around a 10% salt solution. 10%. But around there. But you go and look at your favorite recipes, or if you go to my recipes on forkandtheroadtv.com. My brine recipes are on there, or currently I'm a consultant for Taste of Home Cooking Magazine. And if you go to tasteofhome.com, we've got oodles of brine recipes there. But basically what you've got is a salt water solution, and the salt is usually paired with some sort of sweetener, be it maple syrup, as I use here in Michigan maple syrup, or molasses, or cane sugar, or brown sugar, something to take kind of the edge off the salt flavor-wise. So maybe 50-50 salt and some sort of sweetener, and then any other flavors you want to add.
It's not too late to do it. You can check it out there, forkandtheroadtv.com for Eric Villegas. What do you make of roasting the turkey upside down?
I think it's a great idea, and it's basically what you're doing it upside down, but not the entire time. About 75% of the time upside down, and then the last 25% of your cooking, flip it over so you can brown the breast. But what you're doing is you're using physics, you're using gravity. All that wonderful flavor, all that richness in the fat from the legs and the thighs falls down, if it's upside down, into the breast. It's kind of like creating a rotisserie in your oven.
You're making us all so hungry, as you always do, Eric Villegas. It's great to reconnect with you, and I want to keep in closer touch now. Eric Villegas, forkandtheroadtv.com. You know, he came out of Michigan State University, had Restaurant Villegas, lived in Paris, has cookbooks and TV shows, and that brilliant personality. And look at those tips he gave us already, just in time. At the White House, they will pardon a turkey. That's a tradition started by George Herbert Walker Bush, where they send the turkeys down to Disney World instead of to the dinner table. 15 after the hour, we're going to check on some shopping and some very unusual stories. And Nikki Hale, world correspondent, will be here, too, as soon as we get back. And what happened with that polar bear? What did they do to a polar bear? Find out as soon as we get back. And how early is someone in line for Black Friday? We're going to speak to someone who was already waiting with a tent. It's Michael Patrick Shiels, 15 after the hour in the AT&T studio at Grand Traverse Pie Company.